If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members. Unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCW Safe, the highest caliber.
And we're back. I'm Chris Evan, the CEO of Survival Dispatch, and I have our in-house intel expert S2 with me tonight. How you doing, S2?
Doing just fine. I got my super mega ukulele.
All righty then. Play us a tune. That's too funny. All right, so just a quick note here. I like the format that we've been using. We've got lots of compliments on it too, by the way. You know, with the first chapter on headline story, second story, a dozen or so other headline news items, and then chapter 3 for the zany stuff. But all day yesterday while I was traveling, I was emailing X post to myself, S2. And when I checked after I finished doing some more of that this morning, actually, I think I had like 376 emails from myself. And I thought to myself, you know what? Let's just do an episode, see how it goes, of the best of today's posts on X. Lord knows there's no shortage of content right now. Whereas in the not too distant past, some days we had to really hunt for stuff that was newsworthy. But
it's the X-Files. It's the X-Files. The truth is out there.
It is the X-Files. It is the Survival Dispatch News version of the X-Files. So fasten your seatbelt, and here we go. So this is a 17-minute video, and clearly I'm not going to play a 17-minute video. I'm going to play as much as I can. I got a ton of stuff stacked up at the end, S2. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the brief, but it's like 140-something pages long, and it's because there's a gazillion memes in there. So we're going to end tonight's show with a lot of laughs, but we're going to start off with the exact opposite. This is absolute insanity. So I don't know if you caught this from Klaus Schwab and the WEF, but now you saw the last stuff. I know we've discussed previously where Klaus Schwab said it's time to bring the American voter into line, blah, blah, blah. Well, now they're saying that if somebody assassinates Trump, they will pardon that person at the WEF. I mean,
they're not elected.
Yeah, correct. Which, I mean, I'm sure lots of people in recent years have scratched their head thinking to themselves, like, who the heck are these guys from the WEF? I'll give our viewers the Cliff Notes version, just in case any of y'all aren't aware of this. But basically, this guy's father was a Nazi in World War II, killed a bunch of people, but he was a dual citizen between Switzerland and Germany. So when the Nuremberg trial started, he was like, oh, no, I'm from Switzerland. I'm not German. And he escaped persecution. When he died, he left something approaching, say, $30 million to his son, Klaus Schwab. 1971, Klaus Schwab started the World Economic Forum. In the early 90s, he started this thing called the Young Global Leaders Program, with the goal of indoctrinating young politicians and then getting them implanted into Western governments around the world. And I didn't stumble upon the WEF until the early 2000s. It's a long story. I'm not going to tell it, but I was absolutely flabbergasted that here's this international, like you said, unelected body essentially planting people in Western governments to do really, really evil things. When I say evil things, we're talking of taking democratic countries, and that does not include the United States, but republics like the United States, and converting them to socialism, their version of socialism. Everybody has their own version of socialism. Communists always say communism never worked before because they didn't do it right, but everybody has their own definition of that. The poor people have their definition that things are going to be better, but all of the powerful people, their definition is this is going to be a dictatorship and you will do whatever we tell you to do. So let me play a little bit of this S2, and then I suggest take your watch off, take your smartwatch off so it doesn't go crazy with your
Don't own one.
with your heart rate. Well, I'm gonna have to take mine off clearly because we all know what happens when I get into this stuff. Golly, this stuff as an American, this stuff is downright offensive. So let's hear the recap on this.
The faceless, unelected global elite are rattled, but they're still lurking in the shadows, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Their ultimate goal? To take down President Donald Trump before he can completely dismantle their New World Order agenda. After flying their private jets to the Swiss mountain resort of Davos Klosters, the global elite are convening as we speak, and reports from the back rooms reveal a diabolical plan. According to insiders, Schwab is promising to pardon anybody who successfully assassinates Trump once the globalist seize control of the United States. But it gets worse. This assassin will be celebrated as a hero in the New World Order, rewarded for their role in ushering in their twisted vision of power. Before we dive in, join the People's Voice Locals community if you haven't already, and sign up to become a member of the world's first ever cyber nation that truly believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of your dreams. Visit joson.com and click the Join Us button today. It's completely free. The last 5 years have been a relentless psychological assault. It began with the chaos of COVID and has only escalated. Wars erupting, economic collapse looming, shameless price gouging, and the suffocating grip of authoritarian control tightening by the day. We're constantly watched under the cold, unblinking eye of the surveillance state, while divisive media narratives stoke division and bait us towards civil unrest. They keep warning about the next pandemic, even as they recklessly tinker with nature, gain-of-function experiments, self-replicating vaccines, and toxins infiltrating our air, water, and food supply. And the most chilling part? They don't even try to hide it. They flaunt their power, sending a clear message. There's nothing we can do to derail their agenda. Now, with their COVID playbook complete, the globalist elite are moving on to the next phase. Chaos. Total calculated chaos. Just a few weeks into 2025, terror attacks have rocked American cities, and arsonists and directed energy weapons have sparked devastating wildfires in the heart of Los Angeles. But their most sinister move could still lie ahead. The elite are prepared to unleash hell by targeting the duly elected president of the United States, a leader determined to undo their agenda and chart a new course for America. According to a whistleblower from the inside of the WF in Davos, the global elite are so confident that they'll succeed, they've already begun planning for life after Trump.
All right. So if you go to patreon.com/survival dispatch and sign up for an account, tonight's brief, because it's almost 150 pages long, is for paying members only, $9.99 a month. But at least 50% of the time we give the brief away, the situation report away, that has links to every single thing that we cover, and the link to watch this full video is in there. So S2, I mean, I know what your high level thoughts are on this, so I'm not going to ask you to go on a rant or anything like that, but what I will ask you is, what are the ways we can fight back against this?
I think the Secret Service needs to pay a visit to Klaus Schwab. He's issued a threat, and it is a felony to issue a threat to a sitting president. They have already gone after some other people on the freaky blue-haired side of the fence,
Right.
and they have paid them visits. They've actually arrested one person so far that I know, actually two people that I know of. So why should he be any different?
Yeah, good point. I wasn't thinking at the micro level like that. That's a great suggestion. I was thinking in higher level terms, but
higher level terms, just become more self-sufficient. The only way to defeat these guys is to not need them. If they've got something they think you want or need, you're just going to have to do without it.
Yeah, fair enough. Good answer. At the end of the day, pretty shocking to hear them talk like this. They've become very, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, bold, I guess, with these types of announcements, and thinking that as Americans that we're just going to accept this, that we're just going to roll over and say, okay, well, take our guns away, take away our First Amendment, give us CBDC, social credit scores, put us in our 15-minute cities, and we'll be happy. And we'll even eat the bugs. I mean, they're complete insanity. All right. Moving on to the next one here. Boy, howdy. I didn't know what to expect of Carolyn Levitt. She's fairly young. She's in her 20s. And she smoked these guys today in her first press conference. This is 1:21. We're going to watch the whole video. It's glorious.
On January 23rd, ICE New York arrested a Turkish national for entry without inspection who is a known or suspected terrorist. On January 23rd, ICE San Francisco arrested a citizen of Mexico unlawfully present in the United States who has been convicted of continuous sexual abuse of a child aged 14 years or younger. ICE St. Paul has arrested a citizen of Honduras who was convicted of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor. ICE Buffalo arrested a citizen of Ecuador who has been convicted of rape. ICE Boston arrested a citizen of the Dominican Republic who has a criminal conviction for second-degree murder. This criminal was convicted of murder for beating his pregnant wife to death in front of her 5-year-old son. And ICE St. Paul also arrested a citizen of Mexico who was convicted of possessing pornographic material of a minor on a work computer. These are the heinous individuals that this administration is removing from American communities every single day, and to the brave state and local law enforcement officers, CBP, and ICE agents who are helping in the facilitation of this deportation operation, President Trump has your back, and he is grateful for your hard work.
All right, S2. What are your thoughts on the numbers so far? By the way, I'm working on a stock ticker to show the daily arrests. I found where that information is publicly released.
Yeah, I posted that out on the Signal the other day.
I missed that, but I did stumble across it elsewhere. What are your thoughts on the numbers, though? I mean, I know this is a massive problem, and it takes a ton of manpower, but I was hoping to see bigger numbers. Maybe just wishful thinking.
Well, in the first week so far, the number is at 3,000. They're running right now. They're going after the low-hanging fruit criminals that they know about. The rest of them, unfortunately, a lot of them have gone into hiding. They're moving around. As I said the other day, Chicago is reporting that it's a ghost town right now because nobody's coming out. They're either leaving or they're going somewhere else. So I think in light of this, I think we'll start to see things ramp up as we get a hold of more of these people and we start to sweat more of them and find out exactly where they're holed up at. But right now, I think 3,000 for the first week is a pretty good number.
Yeah, I suppose. I see Trump has asked Homan to get it up to 1,200 a day, 7 days a week. And again, I look at the totality of the situation that we have somewhere between 30 and 50 million illegals in the country. I want to see bigger numbers, but that's just me being greedy. That's all. I want our country back yesterday.
Well, you got to do it right. And you got to not target the wrong people. I mean, we have a lot of people in this country that went through the process and they became citizens. And I also don't want to see people falsely reported.
Yeah, of course. None of us are advocating for that. All right, so here's another short video, 38 seconds. Man, this is in your wheelhouse too. I can't wait to hear your comments on this.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. And before I turn to...
I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to color anything that you have to say. I'll reserve my comments until you speak on this.
I told you so.
That's too funny. Oh, this is chapter 1. It's not chapter 3. Okay, you don't have to be funny in chapter 1. So here's my take on this. I believe that that's what the FAA relayed to the Trump admin, I don't necessarily believe this vague statement that it was done for research. There's some other underlying reason in my mind.
Yeah, I kind of think you're right along those lines. I mean, let's face it, we've still got a lot of people in the administration that aren't going to be straight up about anything. Um, I would like to see Ratcliffe get to the bottom of it, because I'm sure that the CIA was involved in it. At the very least, the State Department was involved in it. And the only reason that they didn't tell the American people about it is because they wanted to create this environment of uh, fear. I mean, that's all it really amounted to. You know, with all of the things that were coming out, they were leaking stuff to politicians. The politician came out and said, "Oh yeah, they got a mothership parked off the East Coast." Where would that kind of information have come from?
Right. So I guess time will tell. I'm sure that the truth will come out at some point in time. It always does. Still, the whole thing was disconcerting. Why would they be conducting research at that point in time? Why would they keep it so quiet and let fear, be fostered amongst the country? I don't know, but everything that administration touched turned to shit. So,
well, that's how the Biden administration behaved the entire time. I mean, they were behaving like a communist dictatorship. Everything they were doing was designed to create fear and uneasiness among the public, because they were trying to start a war.
Right. Well, also you need the government. We will protect you, which is kind of the WEF spiel. All right, so I was really glad to hear this. Team Trump is livid over the assassination attempts, because I can appreciate Trump's demeanor when he says something humorous with regards to the assassination attempts, but it's good to know that behind that facade that he is pissed. 3-minute, 9-second video may play all of it, may not.
Then there's the whole question of the investigation of the Trump assassination incidents. We heard nothing about that. It was the most extraordinary news story that I've ever, apart from the disappearing president and the mysterious nomination and COVID, presidential candidate and ex-president gets shot and the story's dead within like 48 hours. And all you read in the news from the FBI, there are these comments saying that they don't have any motive evidence. We've done 100 interviews, but we don't know anything about why this happened or, what was going on there. Do you believe that? I have a very hard time believing that there's nothing interesting.
Well, he was kind of your classic 20-year-old American kid with no social media presence whatsoever, ever.
Right.
Just,
exactly.
And it is a very typical American story where one day you just wake up and decide to die assassinating a presidential candidate for no reason.
Right. It's like
who has
your first joint. Yeah.
Your first joint. Yeah.
And then the second one, the Ryan Routh thing, that's not weird at all. Like, I just flew into Florida last night. I don't think I could have gotten my hands on, a Chinese-made SKS semi-automatic rifle without help. I don't.
Well, he might not be able to, but anybody who knows anything about guns could procure pretty much anything like that inside of a day here in Florida. That's a bit of a
those things are running rampant down there on the street.
Right. That's a pretty false statement, but the rest of it rings true. And we've commented many times that we've got all these mentally ill people on the left. They're in a constant state of anger, and even when shitty things happen on our side, we still can laugh about it. We still can poke fun at ourselves. But what's your takeaway from his account of what's going on behind the scenes as far as the anger level?
I'm not following your question.
Like, he basically is saying this facade that you're seeing of Trump being happy-go-lucky, joking in public, is skin deep. Behind the scenes, Team Trump is absolutely pissed over the assassination attempts.
Well, I honestly, I think Trump is angry about a lot of things. How can you? what angers me the most is how can we have this many people in our country that we have walked down the street and talked to, that we've walked into a restaurant and talked to, and before COVID hit, everything was actually before Trump was elected, everything was kind of okay. Everybody agreed to disagree. Now it's just flat out, you're on the wrong side or you're on the wrong side. And I think that's probably more what he's angry about is the division that they've created in America. That's yeah, okay, so they took a shot at him, they tried to kill him. That would piss me off too. What I haven't been able to understand this far with that kind of thing is why hasn't he gone after the people that tried to kill him?
Yeah, and then that's what I'm really getting at. So that's the heart of the matter here. I mean, I would be on a rampage myself if I was in his shoes, but he's a smarter guy than I am. So suffice
Well,
to say,
they'll come out. It'll come out at some point who all orchestrated this when they start having all of these investigative hearings and things like that. It'll come out.
it will. It will. It always does. All right, moving on to the next one. Doge has already saved the American taxpayer from funding $50 million in condoms for Gaza. Bullshit. That 50 million, there's probably a small amount of money for show for the condoms. This money is going to grease somebody, and there's probably kickbacks and all kinds of bullshit that goes with it. But we'll listen to part of this video.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. Just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on.
I don't know if you caught her or not, S2, but a bunch of governors are lining up, well, they're AGs, of course, to sue the Trump admin over the loss of money. They're going to have to come to grips with it. I mean, I watched this, the AG from Arizona speak today, and she's a complete hardcore left-wing Karen nutcase, whatever you want to call her, railing against these cuts. And I thought to myself, when you have $37 trillion on your credit card at high interest, you have to cut deep if you're ever going to turn things around. And this spending money that you don't have is going to end, period, full stop. So,
well, honestly, I think more what they're upset about is all of their little patsy NGOs that have facilitated the systematic destruction of America. They're not getting that money now to continue their efforts. So that means they're going to have to find funding for them someplace else, or they're just going to have to go away.
Yeah,
I think that was a brilliant move.
100%. I think it was brilliant as well, and I think that your logic is very, very sound. All right, next one up. Former FBI agent issues a warning to the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. 3 minutes, 19 seconds. We'll just play a portion of this one.
It is noted, one by one, you removed her fingernails from all of her fingers. And then you beat and you pistol whipped and you tortured and tormented these people for over 4 hours as I am reading the report. In Colorado, in Aurora, where the local governments and the administration said that, oh, it's a bunch of lies. Venezuelan gang members are not taking over Aurora. But now we can go back and talk to the people that just got tortured, and we'll ask them, are gang members taking over Aurora, Colorado? And what's amazing to me is that you guys come from a torn-stricken country that is treating their citizens all like horrible and struggling for food and shelter, and you have the opportunity to come to America for a better life, and then you do this. And you search out women and children and the vulnerable and the weak to bully and pick on and torture and beat down and try to control the areas of the United States of America. And you think you're going to be allowed to stay. And you want to know why Donald Trump's new border czar has got zero tolerance, and he's going to deport you all. Out, gone, back to Venezuela, back into the prisons, back to being treated like animals the way that you should be treated by the things that you have been doing in this country since you have been here.
So S2, he actually tweaked me on something that I saw last night, and it didn't sound like a joke. Maybe it was, but Trump said, not only do I not want these violent people from other countries, I don't even want violent people who are Americans in the country. So I'm going to pay other countries to put our violent criminals in prisons in their country and get them the hell out of our country. So again, it was something I quickly caught in the airport in Atlanta last night, so I can't speak to the veracity of it, but
I caught that too.
I'll give Trump credit. He comes up with some ideas that nobody else comes up with whatsoever. So,
The funny thing is, they take hold. They like get legs of their own and just become a thing.
exactly. And you know, some of his stuff you can tell he's floating a trial balloon, but other stuff you can't tell if he's floating an idea, if he's 100% serious or not. He leaves the door open to add more to it, that's for sure. But I love this idea of we're just going to take our violent criminals and send them to another country and pay them to house them. It's probably cheaper to use the prisons in other countries than here, since we privatize things here. Of course, the cost per person is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Moving on to fake news. Scott Jennings tells Catherine Rampel to lawyer up after she says Elon Musk is aligning himself with Nazis. She then absolutely loses it on live television. 2 minutes.
Going to be good.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Well, there's a couple from this particular segment spread out through the show tonight, but I'm going to play enough of this that we all get a good laugh out of this lady. Here we go.
Look, the first time that Elon Musk decides to declare that globalist Jews are responsible for the great replacement of brown people into the United States, maybe it was a misunderstanding. You know, the second time he said that Jews are pushing hatred against white people, that's a quote, you know, that was a little iffy. By the second Sieg Heil, I think he kind of loses the benefit of the doubt to be not accused of playing footsie with these Nazis. I'm not saying he's a Nazi. I'm saying the Nazis think he's a Nazi, which they very clearly did at this event. And these words were not said in a vacuum. As you pointed out, the leaders of AfD have embraced, in many cases, the Nazi heritage. They have wanted to take down the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, saying it is inappropriate to recognize this horrific chapter in German history. And I just think it's horrific. I don't understand why this guy keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, whether or not he believes this stuff personally.
You didn't even mention the Nazi jokes he was making on Twitter. That actually got.
He's been given so many chances
about it.
Yeah.
I was hearing a lot of sighing, Scott. What's the deal?
I mean, we've moved on from Trump derangement syndrome to Elon derangement syndrome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to defend his saying
the
Germans get to
Let me let him finish, Catherine.
I love this game we play where you talk for 2 minutes, I talk for 3 seconds,
ahead,
and you
Scott.
freak out. So he has a long record of supporting the Jewish people, number one. Number two, anybody who is asserting this thing he did on the stage the other day was a Sieg Heil, which I just heard you say, you know, lawyer up maybe, because absolute ridiculous thing to say. Under no
The
circumstances.
Nazis in
under-
Germany
under-
thought it was a Sig Heil.
Under no
The
circum-
Nazis in
under
Germany
no
thought it was a Sig
circumstances
Heil.
was he doing anything other than expressing enthusiastically.
Why don't you do it
his
on TV right now?
His appreciation.
Why don't
to
you
the
do it on
crowd.
TV right now if
Number-
you think it's so
Number three.
Hold on,
So,
one second.
you
Let me
know,
let it- let me let it finish.
banal.
Number three. I think it is fully appropriate. And I, of course, have been the strongest supporter of the Jewish people on this network for over a year, since October the 7th.
Is that true?
To remember the Holocaust and to remember the atrocities committed against the Jewish people. And I also think it's appropriate to remember the atrocities committed against them right now. And it seems to me, let me just finish my point.
No,
It seems to me,
I won't let you change the subject.
it seems to
Let's
me,
address what we're talking about.
I'm trying to finish my point.
As the Jew at this table,
I'm trying to finish my
I
point.
would say
The people who are most concerned about and most all over Elon Musk today have had nary a word for the Nazis on college campuses who've gone crazy for the last year and a half.
That is bull. That is bull.
Nothing.
I am a Jew.
Comments as to?
She's not a Jew. She's a Zionist.
Fair enough. Didn't expect that answer, but man, I'll tell you what, Scott Jennings has, they're going to owe him a lot at CNN.
I was waiting on him to say what he was really thinking about.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts are with CNN is, you know, they're going to be in financial trouble if they're not already. They're probably going to be bought up by somebody. There's some rumors that Elon has expressed an interest in buying them. But Scott Jennings may be the guy who actually saves CNN's viewership, because people like me, I'm not watching, you know, the stuff that's all one-sided. But I do like to watch the stuff that both sides are represented, so that people like you and me and the rest of our crew can start putting the pieces together to figure out what the truth is. You got to hear what the other guy has to say, whether it's legit or not. Most of the time, there's always these little tidbits, right? I mean, that's all part of the game. So speaking of tidbits, this is much more than a tidbit here. And we've spoken at length with regards to NGOs and how the Biden admin, Biden, because it was Obama, Biden, funded these NGOs to do things at arm's length, to say, no, we're not doing these things. You know, that's these other groups. Red Cross would be a good example of that, facilitating the invasion of our country. So this is a 5-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole video, but this explains one web of funding for NGOs that'll blow your mind.
What you are looking at is the central nervous system of how the leftists use NGOs, non-governmental organizations, so that they are able to interfere in elections, to transform American culture, much of which is paid for by the American taxpayer. Now, what you are looking at has never been seen before, because it can't be seen with conventional technology. Every dot you see here is an NGO that is tied to the Chinese Progressive Association. In the next few minutes, we're going to do that analysis. But let's go look at some of these outlying organizations. The Black Voters Matter Fund, $4 million, is funding all of these different organizations you see here. United Ballot, MIA Strategies, Mississippi Legislative Black Fund, Step Up Louisiana Organizing Fund, Abundant Life Ministries, Organizational Support Services. And here's another group, the National Domestic Workers Alliance. And who might they be funding? Well, let's go look. Arriba Las Vegas Workers Center. And here's a small group out here, the Fair Work Center. And who might they be funding? LGBTQ Allyship, Al Noor Islamic Center, Somali Community Services of Seattle, Working Washington. Vote yes for work. So what we have just shown you is 1 year where the Chinese Progressive Association has given money to organizations in the United States, all of which is tax exempt. And those organizations gave the money to a second organization. And what you are seeing here in 1 year from one organization are the thousands of interconnections, every one of which is to a leftist organization. In many cases, these organizations are getting taxpayer money. They are being funded by the United States government, and they are involved in activities that are antithetical to what America is trying to do.
Pretty amazing stuff, S2. That graphic that guy generated there is incredible. Just showing one pathway out of a gazillion out there. But hopefully,
good.
I was just going to say, hopefully that graphic communicates to people the gravity of the situation, just how big it truly is. You know, graphics are interpreted by the human mind something like 10,000 times faster than the written word. And that graphic is shocking when you start to think that every single little dot on there is another organization working against us in this asymmetric, irregular warfare with China, where they're destroying us from within.
Well, actually, it's a different view on that. Is they're destroying us from outside, or trying to anyway. But there is also a concerted effort from the inside as well. If you recall, about a year ago, I shared a graphic that I created that showed the interconnectedness of intergovernmental agencies that were funding the NGOs and what they were doing for child trafficking. So this comes as no surprise to me. I've seen it, and a lot of the stuff that I get, it comes from their own websites,
Right.
and their own databases. I get it from, and that's how I'm able to put those pieces together.
I said internal based on the fact that these people are taking external stuff, as you pointed out, and then the funding is bringing it into America to divide us internally is really what I was getting at, just for clarification.
Well, but the money is probably given to some NGO that funds some politician, and then that money is funneled back into another NGO, and then there's legislation that they've actually used. So the Inflation Reduction Act, I'll use that as for instance. I know of 4 NGOs that were charged with setting up more sub NGOs up underneath them so that they could finance them. But I remember, I think 2 of them at least received $50 million from that Inflation Reduction Act. And nobody said a word about it. And they claimed that they were supposedly climate change garbage. And when you go and you look up these NGOs that were receiving this money, they had nothing to do with climate change, nothing whatsoever.
Right. Shocking. Who would have ever believed it, right?
Yep. And I would also go to say that if he has that kind of a layout for that, he probably also has the layout of the people that are within those organizations as well. And every single one of them and every single person in there should be investigated by the IRS.
Agreed. If the IRS survives, Trump's making some pretty strong hints that he's going to, eliminate the IRS.
They can either do that, or they could take those 87,000 agents and they can convert them to ICE agents.
Right. But, and I know you've seen this rhetorical question, but have you seen the firearms training video of those clowns?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And if anybody watching hasn't seen that, just type in IRS agents, training, CQB training, gun training, whatever.
You'd be kicked off the range.
Oh my God, it is just pathetic. All right, so Tom Homan is not taking any crap from the lying mainstream media. He is a fact-checking machine.
Are you treating migrants humanely? Yes. But there's been reports of them on planes with no water, complaining.
That's a bunch of crap.
What do you mean a bunch of crap?
ICE detention facilities have the highest detention standards in the industry. Any of the ICE standards, our detention standards are higher than any state or federal or local facility in the nation, in the world. Someone should go to the ICE website, look at PBNDS 11, performance-based detention standards, and look at our detention standards, highest in industry.
But are you sure you're only getting illegal criminal migrants? I mean, there were some pictures over the weekend of people that claim to be students, Brazilian students, who were showing examples of bruises on their arms from American deportation flights.
That's ridiculous, but if they want to make a complaint, it'll be investigated.
But your assurance is what?
The men and women of ICE are professionals. We do this for a living. And I can tell you, I ran ICE for years. I was the first director of ICE came up through the ranks. Again, these men and women are professional, highest detention standards in the industry. We take care of these people. But we're going to enforce the law, and we're not going to apologize for doing it.
And you're going to do it in a sort of public way with, do you need to use the big military planes? Is that part of a sort of shock and awe tactic? No. They haven't been used before, have they, for migrants?
No, we got President Trump. We're going to use all the government to secure our border, which is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And we're going to enforce laws in this country. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. And when you cause a crisis as big as the Biden administration caused, when you overwhelm the Border Patrol, but they can't do their national security job, that's when the fentanyl come across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when you have a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's when you have a record number of no-inspected terrorists coming across an open border. President Trump's going to secure the border as promised to the American people. We're going to enforce immigration laws. That's what we're going to do without apology. We're on board. We're going to go forward. You're going to see it get a hell of a lot bigger in the near future.
Absolutely awesome. Of
Amen.
course, we've worked with Tom Homan. We love Tom Homan. He's a great guy. Probably one of the biggest changes I've seen to this administration versus the first time around for Trump is everybody on the team has a tremendous skill set for shutting down the legacy media. I haven't seen one person from Trump's team even stumble when confronted with any of these, let's call them ambush questions.
And they don't back down either.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, all right. So this is the president of Mexico here. Mexicans sustain the U.S. economy. Wow, that's crazy. Imagine how good Mexico's economy will be once we send them all back to Mexico.
Make Mexico great again.
I mean, again, we get too many laughs in the first chapter here tonight.
Pero que se oiga bien y que se oiga fuerte. Las y los mexicanos.
I wasn't sure which video this was. Yeah, it's all in Spanish, so there's no sense in listening to it because only a small portion of our audience is bilingual. All right, next one up. Trump is right. There is a giant spigot that can send more water to Southern California. It's the Jones pumping station, the Trump pump. Right next door is Gavin's pump. I went to take a look, and which, by the way, for those people who didn't catch this, the water has been turned on, and Gavin Newsom has been shown to be a liar once again, and Trump has been shown to be correct once again.
So you know how all the journalists and the Democrats, when President Trump has been talking about the water situation here in California, and he talks about a giant spigot that you can turn to send more water from the north to the south. And they say, what's he talking about? He doesn't understand. There's no giant spigot. Well, there is actually. And I'm standing right in front of it. There it is over my shoulder. It's called the CCW Bill Jones Pumping Station, federally owned. Let's give it a simpler name. That is the Trump pump. And when he was president the first time around, President Trump ordered more water to be pumped from this pumping station, which has 6 giant pumps that lift up water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta and sends it south in the Delta-Mendota Canal. And President Trump ordered more water to be pumped here and sent south. So just up that road where I was at the Trump pump, you come to this. It's the entrance to the Harvey O. Banks Delta Pumping Plant, which is part of the state water project. You can think of this as Gavin's pump. This sends water into the California aqueduct, which is the state-owned part of the system. And guess what happened the last time when President Trump said more water should be sent in the federal system? California said less water should be sent into the California aqueduct through these pumps here. They retaliated by restricting the amount of water. Unbelievable. Why did they do that? Exactly as President Trump's been saying, to protect fish. Well, let's hope this time they have more common sense. And when President Trump orders more water to be sent through the federal Delta-Mendota Canal, the jokers in charge of California don't send less water through the Gavin pump here at the Banks pumping station. So you know how all the...
So, again, no surprise. It's Trump, if anything, Trump does not say something is definitively X, Y, or Z without having all of his ducks in a row. He's exceptionally good at that. I don't know if you want to add anything to this or not. This is no surprise.
That's the same way I operate. I don't ask questions that I don't already know the answer to.
Yeah, that's a hallmark of being a great attorney. Definitely. All right, next up, breaking. Here's your boy, by the way. This is your guy that you're predicting is going to be the first one arrested. I'm sticking with Katie Hobbs for the time being, but I think you got a stronger horse than I do in this race now. And for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, S2 and I have a side bet on which high-profile public official gets arrested by Tom Homan first for harboring and protecting illegals.
If Tom Homan goes to arrest him, he needs to take Dr. Phil with him so that he can give him coping lessons.
Absolutely. Good. It was so good to see him out there, by the way. He had his hands tied for years because his show was on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And as soon as he decided to step away from that, boy, has he been outspoken on our side of things. God bless him. All right, breaking news. Chicago Mayor Johnson says he will continue to protect and support criminal aliens facing Trump's mass deportations. We will continue to protect civil rights, and we welcome all individuals who work here in our beloved city. And Benny Johnson says, FAFO. 56 seconds.
We will continue to protect civil and human rights, and we welcome all individuals and families who want to work, live, and thrive here in our beloved city. The Welcoming City Ordinance is a law, and it is the law of the land here in Chicago. We will uphold it, along with the complementary Illinois Trust Act, to ensure that our immigrant communities are safe. Furthermore, we intend to continue to empower all of our communities throughout our city with crucial information and resources at this time. On the city's website, chicago.gov, we offer a Know Your Rights resource guide providing all information, tools, and context that our immigrant communities should know. The full force of government from my office, city departments, as well as
Let's get right to CBS.
Well, he's your guy. He's your horse in this race, S2. So I'll let you take the first run at him.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I want to see them do an investigation on this guy. I want to see how much money he's being paid to do this. I just can't wait, and I hope that when they do go to arrest him, when the minute he steps up in front of somebody, the Tom Homan is there to do it on camera, national.
Absolutely, and I'm with Doherty one here. We need to start making a lot of popcorn.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's funny. All right, and again, since we're doing this for the first time, this best of X post for today, and this isn't going to be frequent. This will be under certain circumstances when there's just a deluge of news and we're trying to cover everything. So a lot of this stuff is in the order that I found it. So this is clearly nowhere near as important of a topic, but it still shines a light on the insanity that we're all aware of on the left. So man falsifies his birth certificate and claims it makes him female now, proceeds to call women fish. 32 seconds.
This who's AFAB now. Did you know that if you change your name and gender marker on your ID, you also get a new birth certificate? And in my new birth certificate, it says my new name and assigned gender at birth, female. Now, I don't know why they retconned my entire identity, but I guess I'm cis now. Ho, is you cis? So if anyone ever comes and calls me a man, I'm safe because I have state government approved paperwork that I'm fish.
I'm the cold core cat with the long black locks, always on the lookout for them long black locks.
The mental illness is
That's not a dude.
That's not a dude.
No, that's not a dude. That was a voiceover. Very good voiceover, but it was a voiceover.
No shit.
There's no Adam's apple on that chick.
Yeah, you can have that shaved. They do that frequently in Thailand. I had a buddy of mine who had business contacts in Thailand. He was over there frequently, S2, and some girl caught his eye, and the guy's like, "Hey, that's not a girl, that's a dude." And Donnie's like, "How do you figure? She's beautiful." And I think he said something to the effect, no Adam's apple or something like that. And the guy said, "No, they get their Adam's apple shaved, the giveaway is their hands. The hands will always tell you when it's a dude. So I
noticed we didn't see any hands in that picture. So
I haven't put that theory to the test, but Donnie was a pretty smart guy before he ended up dying of bilateral pulmonary embolisms from that thing that they forced people to take in some circumstances. All right. At a pro-Palestinian rally in Australia, they chant death to Australia. In Canada, they chant death to Canada. In Germany, they chant death to Germany. In the USA, they chant death to America. Have you noticed a pattern? 31 seconds. All right, that's enough of that. I can't listen to that pig Latin shit. Did you happen to catch S2 that there's a number of small towns in Wales now that have less than 2% of the population are Muslims, but they put all these crazy speakers that kind of remind me of the air raid sirens when I grew up, where they play this Muslim prayer stuff starting at 5 a.m. in the morning.
There's a way to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Rip down the speakers.
Exactly. I mentioned last week that one of the guys we had dinner with at SHOT Show, he was with our good friend Jeff Nicholas. He was an Australian, a very interesting background, everything from Army to Intel. And he said, look, I'm telling you straight up, the UK is lost. There is no way to recover the UK. And we have alluded to that. We've kind of half-assed joked towards that, but it's pretty shocking to hear somebody who's there on a frequent basis saying, yeah, there's no saving the UK.
I think there's going to be a revolution occur there of some sort.
That would not surprise me. No, solid prediction. That would not surprise me. All right, next one up. No way did Donald Trump Jr. just call out Bill Gates publicly and his active attempts to sabotage RFK Jr. from becoming director of health. It's so over for Billy Boy. So just so people understand, S2 and I both come from the tech industry, and we're at that age where we were around when Bill Gates came on the scene. He did not even have the full rights to DOS, disk operating system, when he sold it to IBM, overpromised, underdelivered, and then 15 years or so later, got convicted under the Sherman antitrust laws the first time. This guy has no degrees. He's not a doctor. He's not elected by anybody. He's just downright maniacal. And the sooner he gets taken out, the better. And I'm not talking like killing him assassination wise, but credibility wise. The Epstein stuff, he's trying to tell everybody now. He went to Trump and begged Trump not to release the Epstein files. He's gone to other high level officials. Now he's putting this story out that the only time he ever met with Jeffrey Epstein was to discuss global philanthropy, which
lie.
Yeah, complete bullshit.
37 trips to the island.
37 that we know of that are on a manifest, right? So, and it's rumored that Melinda left him over this, sexually deviant behavior. So at the end,
I said that way back when she announced the divorce.
For sure, same here. Bill Gates is the epitome of a con man. There's no other way to describe it. He's a con man with billions of dollars at his disposal, which gives him some power that if money was not part of the equation, he would not wield that power. So good on Don Jr. for calling him out. All right, next one up. Trump issued a temporary freeze on federal grant payments today, which, by the way, this evening, a judge, I want to say in Arizona, put a halt on Trump halting transfers of money to the states. And I believe it runs through until Monday next week. So we'll see what happens here. There is some additional information in this thread on where he nuked money from. I'm not going to read through all this. It's a really long post. Again, go to patreon.com/survivaldispatch, sign up as an insider, and you can look through all of this. My intention actually was to read through this stuff, S2, but as soon as I heard that there's a stay in place, I'm not going to waste any time on it until we see how sticky it is. And I expect
that judge is going to get spanked.
For sure. And I expect to see more of this type of behavior throughout the entire tenure of Trump's second term. This one, man, if nothing else we've played tonight or showing you tonight pisses you off, this should piss you off. Trudeau defies Trump's pardon and detains J6 protester. In an unprecedented act of political vengeance, Justin Trudeau is ignoring President Trump's pardon for January 6 protesters and keeping a free man detained in Canada. Canada's border agency is holding the individual hostage, flouting international norms, and thumbing its nose at U.S. justice. So we've still got over 20 J6ers that are being shuffled all over the country, that are not being set free because they refuse to sign NDAs, because Mayor Bowser from D.C. and the rest of the gulag there are demanding NDAs because they did horrible things. And now we've got Trudeau here also, saying screw you to Trump and to Americans who've been pardoned. I don't know if you want to add into this or not.
The Donald should call Justin and say, Justin, if you don't let this guy go, the tariffs go up to 35%.
Amen to that. Well said. All right, here's our friend JJ Carroll. I always appreciate the time and range Grant Stitchfield gives me on his show. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. We will only play a portion.
It makes me feel vindicated. I'm talking to all of my guys in ICE and as well as in the Border Patrol, and the Border Patrol agents are telling me the border is getting secure. No one's crossing it. Anybody that does cross that is arrested, they are all facing consequences, meaning they're all being deported. No one's being released, not one of them. ICE agents and supervisors in San Diego are saying the same thing that you're seeing in Chicago. You're seeing task forces with FBI, DEA, Homeland Security investigators, and ICE agents and officers are going out into the cities and eradicating the worst of the worst out of the community. And Tom Homan is absolutely right. I've been in there and I've done this in California. Instead of going into a hard cell where the illegal alien criminal can be easily transferred to me, now I have to wait for them to be released. We get in a foot chase, we get in a failure to yield, crashing into cars, people getting hurt, all because of this ideological insanity that the left has enveloped themselves in with protecting these savages. And they are savages. We're talking about murderers, rapists, drug dealers, child rapists, the worst of the worst. And the Dems are protecting them. It's sick.
So no surprises there. We're in frequent contact with JJ. He's a friend of ours. But I have a feeling that some of the things that JJ discusses are, getting through to some Americans for the first time. Maybe Americans have been too consumed with other things, whatever the case may be. But he brings so much passion and energy to the table. JJ Carroll is a big reason that we've turned this corner. And again, S2, you're welcome to comment on JJ if you want.
Well, I don't have anything to say on that one.
Yeah. All right. Moving along in the thoughts of, what's the word I'm looking for? Being pissed off, I guess. I've seen the pictures of children crying as their parents are deported. Here's a picture of my friend's 3-year-old, Maddie Hines, who was senselessly killed by an illegal criminal. He put this poor family through an entire trial, was unapologetic the whole time, even when given the chance, and smug. Parents who commit crimes are separated from their children and go to prison all the time. Sorry, you're committing a crime by illegally being in the country. The fact that you have kids doesn't change that. How about we, demand that these nutcases on the left, especially the mentally ill women, show some sadness over illegals killing little girls in America. This is not an isolated incident. S2, you're knee deep in this stuff all the time. We could talk nothing but young women and children raped and murdered by illegals.
Well, they don't have any sympathy for these people because they're a bunch of fat, ugly cunts that are never going to have the family of their own. So therefore they have to be angry at everybody else because of it.
Well, that's one way of saying it. All right, moving on to the next one here. Molly Hemingway lists all the crimes Liz Cheney has committed during her reign on the J6 cover-up committee. The pardon is being sought by people who know what she did because she is in legal jeopardy. 1 minute, 55 seconds.
To supposedly investigate the January 6th incident at the Capitol, she obstructed justice. She witness tampered. We have lots of reason to believe she witness tampered with Cassidy Hutchinson getting involved in that woman's actual legal representation. She hid evidence that exonerated Donald Trump. I mean, one of the big things that Liz Cheney had said was that Donald Trump had not, in fact, sought a presence at the Capitol to protect people who were protesting. And she had evidence when she conducted her interviews that the deputy chief of staff said he personally heard Donald Trump say that he thought 10,000 National Guard troops would be good, that he heard the chief of staff talk to the DC mayor, encouraging her to request those troops. But she hid that evidence, completely failed to release that evidence until, and it only came out after Republicans took control of the House. This is not someone that you should be giving an award to, someone who's witness tampering, obstructing justice, and the like.
So do you think she broke the law? Because remember, in the last few weeks, there was...
All right, go stop it there. She's not a bad host, but I have a hard time with her voice. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard. No surprises here whatsoever. The entire J6 committee broke the law in multiple different ways. If you didn't break the law, you don't need a pardon. So that speaks for itself. But there are all kinds of examples, actually stories that are coming out now where they influenced witnesses, which is highly illegal. They even coached some witnesses to fabricate stories, change their stories. The whole thing was a witch trial. Anybody who's got that, I don't know what to call it, S2. There's a certain level of awareness that some people have that they can, let's call it a bullshit meter, that can pick this stuff out very, very quickly. And then there's other people who can't. And if somebody's bullshit meter is not up to speed, come here and watch our show, because everybody who's part of Survival Dispatch has a great radar. They're not telling us anything we don't know. If President Biden, I'm not even going to call him President Biden because he wasn't a legit president, but resident would be more like it. But Biden didn't have the mental faculties to stand for trial for having confidential documents at home, which vice presidents are not allowed to have. Presidents are, like Trump. So how can he issue pardons to all these people, especially preemptive pardons? And I think the biggest legal loophole that's been mentioned to me is the lack of specificity. Todd Callender said to me, you can't give somebody a pardon for something they may did without specifics.
You can't get a pardon for somebody that hasn't been convicted of a crime or even charged with a crime, for that matter.
Right.
It's an illegitimate pardon. Not to mention it's too broad.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So it will be interesting, if nothing else, to see how things unfold for the J6ers. I mean, I believe I mentioned it the other night ago, but if I didn't, and it wasn't one of the episodes where you were on, the slush fund that they have in Congress to pay off people, basically silence them if a member of Congress, has acted inappropriately, whatever.
Isn't it the same one Adam Schiff used to pay off some 15-year-old girl that he supposedly was hitting on, or was, I forget the details behind that, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple instances directly involving Adam Schiff. One of them's a 15-year-old boy.
That was it.
And somebody threw the number out there. I can't verify it, that they had to pay this kid and his family $17 million not to speak up. That, when Doge gets to auditing that money going out, this, slush fund to essentially bribe people who've been sexually assaulted by members of Congress, that's pretty explosive stuff. But just the fact that this was verified, S2, in my mind, disqualifies Schiff from sitting as a senator. And
well, the other thing that Doge needs to investigate too is another entity called the Millennium Challenge Corporation.
Okay,
because that's another slush fund that's out there that not many people know about. It's used to cover up the crimes that they've created. When I say they, I mean I'll just use the word cabal, the cover up crimes that they have committed, past, present, and future.
Yeah, the bottom's going to fall out of this at some point. I mean, completely fall out of it. We're on the cusp of that happening. All right, next one up. Breaking, one of the Trenda-Arago ringleaders behind the Aurora apartment takeovers has just been busted by ICE in New York City. 45 seconds. So I've got my videos mixed up. I thought there was some commentary went with that, but suffice it to say, this shitbag in the top right corner was part and parcel of the apartment buildings being taken over at Aurora, Colorado. And apparently, when these raids were being announced, he felt like he'd be safer in New York City than staying in Colorado. And clearly he was proven wrong. So that piece of shit is getting sent back to Venezuela. All right, next one up. ICE Chicago Field Office Director. We're targeting the worst first. This administration has taken the handcuffs off of us. This one short clip shows how brilliant the Trump admin media strategy on deportation is. They are documenting these truths in real time.
What we're doing is we're targeting the worst first, right? That's who we're getting. We're focusing on those targets. We're not targeting people in schools. We're not targeting people in churches. We're targeting people who are the worst. There's a chance they're going to go to some of those places, and this administration has kind of taken some of the handcuffs off of us in a way, right? Where we're leaving the discretion with our officers, and our officers are trained to make good decisions out there. And we support them. And that's the one thing that we have to realize. These officers now, when we could have arrested somebody at a safe facility, right, a jail or a court lockup with one or two officers, and now we have to go out into the streets. Now most of our teams are at least 10 agents and officers trying to arrest one individual.
Yeah, good point on his part with regards to the extra resources that are required to track these people down in public, than have them just turned over on an ICE detainer by, the county jail, the county sheriff. What these, I don't know what you want to call them, protectors of the illegals are doing. I cannot wait. You know what? I can't wait to see them start to get arrested and locked up. And if I owe you on that bet, I will be happy to pay that debt.
We need to start calling them accomplices, because that's what they are.
Yeah, good choice of words. Absolutely. All right, next one up. Supplier arrested. Narcotics detectives arrested an out-of-country supplier of methamphetamine and cocaine Monday in Daytona Beach after he returned to Volusia County with 6 kilograms of cocaine and 15 pounds of meth. I put this up tonight, one, because it's a pretty significant bust. 2, it's an illegal. And 3, this is our county that we live in Florida. So hats off to the Volusia County SO for doing a great job on that one.
Must have been going down cocaine lane.
Right. You know, here crazy thing is we have a friend of ours, Debbie Ringhaver. She owns all total it's over 220 acre ranch, but I think I want to say like 70 acres is protected wetlands. The rest of it's her farm. And it was built in the 70s by one of Pablo Escobar's guys as a 5,000 foot FAA approved airstrip. And she throws some of the best parties. She hardcore gun person. It's called the 2A Ranch, but it's hilarious that it was built by these drug runners back in the 70s. Pretty crazy. All right. So I alluded to this earlier tonight. The bill to abolish income tax in the United States has been introduced. So the IRS abolishes the IRS, repeals income tax. This is absolutely real. Wow. I mean, if that goes through and we replace this income with tariffs instead, it should more than suffice as far as giving people back their spending power. But what it also does is it essentially turns it into a consumption tax, which I'm okay with. I'm not okay with a lot of taxes, but if you're going to be taxed on something and you're you're a billionaire, you spend billions of dollars, then you pay billions of dollars in taxes on that money, right? Like as far as sales tax, essentially, is what it converts it to. And if you're a poor family and you can't afford to buy a lot of stuff, then your taxes go to zero, basically. Thoughts on getting rid of the IRS?
100%. The 14th Amendment has never been ratified by the states. That makes income tax illegal. It's always been illegal. It's just like this new thing that's coming out now with the property tax fraud that Mitch Wexler has been talking about quite a lot, where the states have been increasing people's property valuations in order to increase their property tax values, and it's another one of those elusive machines that he started to put the pieces together and have figured out how they've been doing it. Basically, they have inverted the amortization schedules to where you will never ever be able to pay off your house.
That's right.
So now this is the next move, and I saw this coming 4 years ago when I started getting the phone calls of people wanting to buy my house, and then I thought to myself, wait a minute. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to start raising people's property taxes to the point of where they can't afford to keep their house because they can't afford to pay the taxes, and then the banks will come in and foreclose on the house. Problem with that is that's going to implode the economy. It will completely implode the economy, because what happens is if the banks have all of this property, the banks predicate their value on being able to sell that property. If that property is inflated to the point where nobody can afford it, then they get to sit on that property and they lose money daily on it.
That's right. That's right. The other part to that equation, I'm sure you caught it, is that Kamala and Tim Walz were proposing a tax on unrealized capital gains. So
yeah.
Hand in hand with what you just mentioned, right? So your property value goes from 200 to 300, 400,000. Oh, you better pay tax on, you just made $200,000, even though you never realized it.
Well, that's a violation of the Constitution in itself.
Yeah, it's a violation of sanity. Nothing else.
Yeah.
All right. Trump just posted this 2-minute video. It's worth watching the full 2 minutes.
We have very low unemployment rate in the US and we have a very high unemployment rate in France. How come? What the recipe for?
Well, maybe we have a better president than you do.
Your research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.
Question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which
Did
was,
you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you hear me?
Yes,
Ask him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude. Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
It's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you want us to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? They
Because it comes
say
from
it's
China.
racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China.
Overall, South Korea has done 5 times more tests than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true. Who are you with?
Yahoo News. And it's not true per capita.
Do you want to respond to that? If you have the numbers.
South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000. So
Are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo and nobody knows who you are.
And we're not even into chapter 3 yet. Yeah.
Dude, we're not even past week 2 of the presidency yet.
Unreal. All right. Breaking in a shocking interview about FEMA after President Trump's visit to West North Carolina, officials in Avery County, which is where our friends are, doing God's work, confirm only 2 temporary homes have been delivered to victims by FEMA in 4 months. At least 80 homes are just sitting behind a guarded fence. 3 minutes, 2 seconds. We'll just play the beginning.
On the armed guards and through the chain link fence.
Taxes it. Hard at work.
And you'll see what looks like a simple solution.
I wonder why they're sitting here and not with the family that needs it.
Almost 80 FEMA trailers shipped in from Alabama and Maryland that Aiden Lingerfeld, who works nearby, says haven't budged in months.
They came in, they've been sitting since.
He's far from the only one who shared those words. A WCNC Charlotte viewer emailed me a picture of these trailers and said they've been here since Thanksgiving. She wondered when the federal government was going to deliver them to the people of Western North Carolina. So we came up to Hickory, and during our visit, we ran into a FEMA spokesperson who told us the agency is moving trailers out of here all the time. The federal agency says it's placed 140 households in temporary units like these, has 49 trailers in Helene-impacted counties that are in the process of being installed, and has active work orders for another 18 trailers that will eventually be delivered to a combination of private and commercial sites. But it's not as seamless as the public would hope. County permitting requirements and weather delays have slowed down the process.
We got to get the victim in the home. And logistically, it has been tough. The weather has not cooperated at all, but that can't be an excuse.
Philip Barrier says 10 families in Avery County need trailers. And so far, FEMA has only delivered 2.
And I hear about them being deployed every day. They're just not deployed to Avery County.
Yeah, so that's where Dr. Molly is, and that's where Lieutenant Colonel Doc Pete Chambers was, Michael Hall as well. I predict that this is going to do a pretty rapid turnaround under Trump. He's already sent the Army Corps of Engineers. I think we got a video coming up of a gazillion dump trucks there that came out of nowhere. Shame on Obama and the rest of his minions for completely ignoring the people of FEMA for 4 months.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say anything about that mess, but all right. Just in, Texas Public Safety Lieutenant blast Biden admin over border. 1 minute, 26 seconds.
What's the atmosphere like now? How have things been different?
Well, we've seen a complete 180 from one day to the next. We're seeing more arrests being made. We're seeing that throughout the country as well. More support now at the federal level, which we never had for the last 4 years. Everything that we did in Texas, especially what Governor Abbott has done with Operation All Star, has been challenged every step of the way by our own federal government when it came to infrastructure, when it came to criminal arrests. Now that we can actually go out there and have a more aggressive stance on border security and actually focus more on that transnational criminal activity and focus more on criminal arrests, it gives us much more leverage now. And working together with our federal partners, we are determined, we are committed that we can actually secure the border and actually provide more public safety for the entire country. So again, what the Governor Abbott has been doing for the last 4 years, and even now deploying more soldiers and even more DPS special agents to work in conjunction with Homeland Security operations, is going to provide a much more robust border security effort.
Okay,
so
Lieutenant,
we're looking forward to that.
I'm out of time, but thank you for yours. I just one quick question.
So it's great to see the change that's been happening. We all speak to people in law enforcement, especially on the border, meaning everybody at Survival Dispatch. And there's been just an absolute transformation when it comes to morale.
Well, they've also, when they sent in the military, that sent a very strong message, especially when the commander of that unit said that if the cartels shoot at us, we will shoot back.
Right. I'm very interested to see how that progresses until we start dropping bombs on them. All right, breaking. Trump just fired 8,980 active duty and 5,727 reserve troops who identified as transgender. The United States military now has a lot less mental illness. And this was, of course, yesterday. And everybody that we've spoken to who's active duty said that these people were non-deployable assets. They did nothing for us, really, at the end of the day, other than cost us money and free sex change operations. All right, breaking. Senator Ted Cruz has just established an official investigation into Panama's violation of the Canal Treaty, which would give President Trump the green light to retake it by any means necessary. I'm not going to play this video because the next one came afterwards, and the chairman of the Federal Maritime Commission has confirmed all of President Trump's allegations against Panama for violating the Canal Treaty. He broke down how China now controls it and why it's vital that the United States intervenes before it's too late. 20 seconds.
In closing, the Panama Canal is vital to our economy, with over 75% of its traffic bound for our ports. Safeguarding the ACP's independence and addressing the challenges posed by the broader government are essential to maintaining U.S. competitiveness in the global economy. I look forward to your question.
So suffice it to say, and I know you're aware of this S2, but for our audience, multiple violations of the agreement between us and Panama, and we're going to take it back. Full stop.
Breach of contract.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one up. Here we go. Absolutely massive army of dump trucks in Western North Carolina. Where was this for 4 months? The cavalry has arrived. And this is just one of many videos showing the resources that are now being deployed to West North Carolina. Thank God. I suppose better late than never, but man, the people in the last administration who were installed, not legitimately elected, they deserve to pay some sort of price for their pettiness. All right, from Gunther Eagleman, more winning. Approximately 40 illegal Chinese nationals packed in 2 separate vans apprehended in Coral Gables, Florida. So this was great to see. We've said this many times before, but for those people who haven't heard us mention this, you don't just decide to leave China. You have to have permission. They keep tabs on you. So when we see 40 people like this being smuggled into the country, it's not a big leap to them being undercover operatives for the CCP. 1 minute, 16 seconds.
Very heavy police presence in Coral Gables. Specifically, we are looking at Old Cutler Road and Kendall Drive.
Let's get right to 7 Stephen J. Gray above and 7 Skyforce with what we know so far. Stephen.
Good morning, Tavares. Good morning, Olivia. Yeah, we've got a report of up to 40 migrants in 2 separate vans here. This is Old Cutler Road northbound here near Kendall Drive. We've got Coral Gables police on scene, and we're getting word that possibly 40 Chinese migrants have pretty much been pulled over in these vans. You can see through the trees here that the migrants are sitting down. Everything's pretty much under control. Everybody's being good. But once again, the 40 folks in 2 separate vans. Those vans must have been jam-packed right here in Coral Gables. I'm sure they're going to wait for a bigger vehicle to transport the migrants to wherever they've got to take.
So not sure if you caught this S2, but there was another video out there of an official speaking. They had eyes on this at the port, and they let them drive inland because they were trying to determine where they were heading to, where they were going to go to. And then I'm not sure why they elected to stop them where they stopped them. But I mean, 40 Chinese that you don't just walk out of China, number one. Number two, we started seeing this stuff in the late 2000s where we actually went through a stretch S2. I want to say it was like 2009-ish. Every single day there was another story. So Chinese nationals caught, walking down the beach on Merritt Island into Kennedy Space Center. Chinese nationals, apprehended at the Navy base in Key West. It was just like one after another. This has been going on a long time, and they're pretty stupid to try this now under Trump, but go ahead.
Well, there was just another story here. I believe it was today or yesterday where they had another person that tried to walk on to some military base. I can't remember where it was right off the top of my head. I had heard it. I didn't see anything in writing about it, but it was, like I said, they've been trying to get onto our military bases and I can't confirm if it was Chinese or not. They didn't say, but they did say it was an illegal that tried to gain access to the military base.
Yeah, it's
But
again,
we've seen Chinese nationals. In fact, I put out a report a while back, not just about the late last year, where we had some folks down in Texas that had observed a squad of Chinese nationals that were hanging around a cell phone tower, and actually had got out of their vehicle, put on coveralls like they were workmen, and they started climbing up the tower. And it looked like they had left something there. We had to go back and get glass on it to see what they were actually doing up there. But they called the number that was on the building at the cell site, and the sheriff immediately came out and said, "Oh, no, 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 they have permission to be here." But it was like, oh, okay. There was no company truck. It was just a pickup truck full of guys.
amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, at least we've turned a corner. Things are starting to move in the right direction now. So there's some stuff to certainly be thankful for. Next one up, Democrats sounding like Trump on immigration and border security, short thread. And so when it says thread, it means there's multiple posts. I'm not going to go through them all. You can go get the brief from patreon.com/survival dispatch, but I will play this video 1 minute, 19 seconds.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Yeah, you could thank your bitch of a wife for that, Clinton.
Right. It shouldn't be surprising, but it is still surprising that not too many years ago, all the Democrats were saying the same thing that Trump's been saying, but now that they want to flood the country with illegals because they don't breed, meaning they don't create any additional Democrat voters, they've gone too far to the left.
Well, they were also saying the same thing about voting machines.
Yeah. They, like I said, they just went way too freaking far. And thank God the American people woke up. All righty. Moving on to the next one here. This is in the UK, but you know what, anything happens there is going to happen here. We can't deport this criminal because his child might be trans. I mean, what kind of an agreement or what kind of a statement is that? This is a guy who's committed heinous crimes. We're not only not going to throw him in jail for an extended period of time, we're going to let him stay in the country because he has a child that claims to be transgender. I mean,
well, we can make them transatlantic, put them on a plane and fly them back to where they came from.
Amen to that. All right. 2 illegal aliens with ties to Mexican cartels were arrested in the Denver area. Agents seized 130,000 fentanyl pills, cocaine, meth, and heroin. This was at a building that was reportedly like a warehouse, and they were throwing some big party in it, and they managed to capture 50 members of TDA trying to Aragua. Pretty awesome.
They turned it into some kind of a makeshift nightclub or something.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Tom Holman. Governor Pritzker lied to scare children. 2 minutes, 33 seconds. I'll only play a portion.
So something crazy happened in Chicago at the end of last week. 2 Secret Service agents went to a local elementary school because they were running down a threat that was made on TikTok. They identified themselves to the school principal. They even left cards saying, look, if you want to get back to us, here's how you get back to us. Suddenly the story became that it was ICE agents who went to this school, Tom. And Pedro Martinez, the Chicago Public Schools CEO, said this. Listen here.
We had individuals that came to one of our schools, Hamline Elementary School, that presented credentials and shared that they were from ICE. And so our staff followed the protocols. We're very clear. We've been training our principals, our security guards, any front office staff to making sure that they know that we are not to share any information with anybody from the Immigration Department or ICE.
So not only did the CEO of Chicago Public Schools pass off misinformation about U.S. Secret Service agents who were interpreted to be ICE, but listen to what J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said after that. After a week of Republicans sowing fear and chaos, the first reports of raids in Chicago are at an elementary school, targeting children and separating families is cruel and un-American. To be clear again, these were Secret Service agents running down a threat that was made on TikTok. They were not ICE agents. ICE never went near that school. What do you say to Pedro Martinez and the governor of Illinois, who appear to be not only sowing information, but fear?
Well, Pedro Martinez lied. He lied to the city of Chicago because he knew there were Secret Service agents, because I talked to the people involved. They left their credentials. He knew exactly who were there, so he lied. Again, sowing fear in the immigrant community. And Governor Pritzker, rather than calling ICE and asking us, did this happen or did it not happen, he goes on social media and terrifies elementary schools that ICE agents are walking in there. No, he accuses me of terrifying the community. No, he terrified the community. He terrified the children. You know what ICE did yesterday? They saved children. We arrested 9 sexual predators, many of them child sex predators.
Yeah, Pritzker's going to get his ass handed to him going toe-to-toe with Tom Homan and Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't know if you picked up the meme I made today about that.
I did not. Describe it.
I can't. I forget. It's been a long day.
Fair enough. Sounds like something I would say. All right. Multiple development sites in Fort Worth, Texas, Forest Hill are empty with no workers, only supervisor trucks. Hiding from ICE raids and Border Patrol, this is where American jobs have gone completely replaced with cheap, illegal labor. This is my second construction site area I've been to, and there ain't nobody out doing shit. You see 2 of the trucks down here. I think they're supervisors. Maybe they're trying to verify and see if ICE is going to come out. I ain't never seen it this quiet before. This is crazy. This is in my home county, Tarrant County, by the way.
This is my second construction site area I've been to, and there ain't nobody out doing shit. Foundations is poured and all that. Nobody working. See 2 of the trucks down there. But I think they're supervisors. Maybe they're trying to verify and see if ICE is going to come out or what. I don't know what's going on, but I ain't never seen it this quiet before. This is crazy.
It's the lookout, dudes. It's the lookouts, man. They're looking for the ICE guys to come up.
Yeah, the only comment I'll make on this S2 is I'll reiterate both of our thoughts on this from prior episodes. It's not that Americans don't want those jobs. It's that Americans aren't going to work for pennies, full stop. And that's why we've brought in all of these typically unskilled workers from Mexico, Central South America, and the cost of the business is so minuscule, sometimes less than 10 cents on the dollar. But at the end of the day, if you pay them peanuts, they send you monkeys.
That is correct.
All right. This is how you die from Tim Kennedy. Breaking. Mexican cartels have started planting explosives along the border in preparation for an all-out war.
Well, that's the Jalisco cartel.
Yeah,
Those guys are nasty.
they are, but I'll tell you the first thing that comes to mind when I see this is they should be careful what they wish for. They may just
these guys got the firepower to back up what they're doing. Believe me, they do. There have been cartel wars going on down there in Mexico for years. And when these guys came to power down there, they amassed the military equipment to do what they needed to do. And they're like a cancer. They're worse than Tren de Agua. These guys will behead you.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that and send it to your family. But what they don't have numbers to go toe to toe with us. So,
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. I was just watching some stuff on them today. They do. They have the numbers and the firepower.
we're at 1.2 million active duty. In the
And
United
we've got,
States.
are
We've
they
got-
here or are they deployed?
We have 1.2 million active duty. We have 1 million reservists. We have well over 2 million individuals. I don't think there's any private organization in the world that even comes close to that. Those numbers alone put us, as one of the biggest militaries in the world. So I'm not saying they're not a threat, but if we unleash all hell on these guys, we'll obliterate them. We just have to take the handcuffs off of our people. All right, President Trump's White House just launched a rapid response unit to combat fake news in real time. This is what we didn't have in 2017. The media was allowed to lie without any response, but now they can't. This special unit will quench hoaxes before they spread like wildfire. Welcome to the official rapid response account of the Trump 47 White House. We will support President Donald J. Trump's America First agenda and hold the fake news accountable for their lies. Let's make America great again. This is just another good example as to of the maturity of this second administration. I don't mean maturity as in, acting out of line. I mean maturity is becoming more sophisticated and fine-tuning their game. This is a great idea. I don't know if you had any comments or if you knew that this was going on, but I didn't know it until this afternoon.
I'm watching this whole thing play out right now, and this is playing out with the precision of a military operation. I mean,
that's
everything that's going off, everything that's popping off is just clicking right into line.
Yeah, and clearly it's by design. It's not like this is some fluky thing. So
yeah, no, this was all planned.
Yeah, and safe to say that Trump and his team really did their homework in this 4-year hiatus. And like we've said many times before, honestly, I think we were the first ones that I'm aware of that said it. I started saying in 2021 that if and when Trump got back into power, he would be way more potent than he was the first time around because of the lessons being learned from just how messed up the deep state is. So, and here we are reaping the rewards of that, thankfully, after 4 years from hell. All right, so that's the end of chapters 1 and 2, which we kind of mashed together, and we're moving into chapter 3 now, which is crazy headlines, zany headlines, funny memes, all that kind of stuff. So first one up, TikToker arrested for making TikToks threatening Trump. We told you, stop doing that, dummies.
I fucking told you it happened. The liberals being arrested today. This time over a TikTok. Tic-tac-toe. This is Indiana man Douglas Three. Liberal or Trump hater, who knows? Honey, they picked him up and hauled him off this week for threatening to shrill Donald Trump and threatening to overthrow the government on this app. With what? That Adam's apple. Just trip people out back. At this rate, you know they're going to take this app away from us. And cute winter boots and dumbassery, it's gone. Gone. It's so gone. One of his videos said, as a friendly reminder, we do have a Second Amendment right. Oh, okay. So now you believe in it. Okay. It's a funny fucking thing to me. Y'all will pick up arms against everything but a fucking school shooter. Oh, but we don't want to talk about that. The ultimate Uno reverse. Can we make institutions great again? Everybody with TDS need to go have spa day for the next 4 fucking years. They also threatened overthrowing the government. You can read all that bullshit. They'd also posted multiple videos, just like a bunch of the liberal left a couple months ago, back when Nerdy Ned tried to assassinate him, saying, "In this time, don't miss."
I personally think regardless how many people get charged for making death threats against Donald Trump, it's only going to pick up in intensity, is my feeling.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because they're not that smart.
They can go to jail.
They're not sending their best, right? All right. So next one up, I was not expecting that. Neither was I. Have no idea what the story is behind this, but it's pretty funny.
Needs 2 strikes to win the match. Just like that, she got a great break, a crossover, but she'd like to have this final strike. It's 2 strikes.
I'd love to know, did she do that just because she was losing? Or, did she have a hate on? I don't know, but it's funny.
That is weird.
All right. This is probably one of the best descriptions for a picture of somebody I've ever seen. If jock itch had a face. Oh my God, she's a sour old cat. And all right, next one up. Once in a lifetime shot. Park ranger uses a shotgun to separate and save 2 antler locked bucks. 44 seconds. That is one heck of a shot, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Unbelievable. Good.
Unbelievable indeed. What a great shot. Save those 2 deers for sure. All right. 7-year-old kicks an adult sized dirt bike into first, then pops a crazy wheelie.
Yo, Danny, my phone there, Joey. Hold on. Yo, Danny, my phone.
That's freaking awesome. All right. Legit question coming up here. Do I need a filter to look pretty? Need more than a dang filter.
Wow. That's
This
that's
one
right up there with the no seeing. You can't unsee that.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I hate this fucking video. Pardon my French. This guy's such a fucking homo the way he eats this fucking banana.
Well, there is another side to this. At least he didn't open it up and try to swallow it like a dick.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Next up, TikToker goes on unhinged rant after seeing people flying American flags. Leftists hate America. 1 minute.
Just saw the cringiest fucking thing. I'm driving out of a grocery store parking lot, and the little mini street that takes you in there, coming into the parking lot is this guy in an SUV, and he's got his, I'm assuming his wife in the front seat. Anyways, they've got their windows down, and out the window, they've got their arms stretched, and they're holding American flags, and not those little tinky, like, no, not those. No, like big American flags. Like 2 to 3 feet long American flags. And they both got their arms out like, America! And they've just got this look on their face. And you just know that they're like conservatives or Republicans, And it's cringy AF. Like the American flag did not do this before. And now it's just become their symbol. And anybody else?
So whether it's blue hair, purple hair, or the nose ring, these are like 100% indicators of a mentally unbalanced Karen.
Every time I see that, in fact, I was someplace the other night, and this girl had a nose ring in, and I almost wanted to say, "Hey, you got something coming out of your nose. You might want to pick that before you scratch yourself."
Golly. All right. From a girl from the South here, dear Northerners.
Hey, y'all. Specifically, my friends from the North. Your weather is out here all drunk and in my yard. I'm going to need you to come pick it up and take it back. I just don't know how to act like this.
Oh, my God.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm sure you heard of this. Lyft hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit over a driver telling this morbidly obese rapper, his car isn't big enough for her. Her lawyers say it's segregation. Somebody posted a meme that said she ordered a lift, LYFT, not a forklift.
Blanding tells us she was just trying to get to a Detroit Lions watch party this month when her lift rolled up.
As I'm walking, I see him like making faces or whatever. I'm like, oh man.
She already knew.
I can fit in this car.
But believe me,
Yes, I can.
believe me.
He told her there's not enough room in his car.
The kicker part was when he started to talk about his tires. You know, I feel like that was a slap in the face. That was like my tires, you know, like.
The driver said his tires could not handle her weight.
For every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car.
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL instead.
You know what? I don't never have to order Uber XL.
He apologized, canceled the ride, and left her there. The rapper says she's pretty tough.
I get the money and flip it and make some food.
Dank DeMoss, as she's known at the mic, is crushed by the whole situation.
I just want them to know, like, it really hurt my feelings.
It looks like a lift might be hurting pretty soon, too.
I knew it was illegal and I knew that it was wrong.
Her attorneys, John Marco and Zach Runyon, say weight is a protected characteristic in Michigan by law.
It would be no different than a driver pulling up and saying, you know, I don't want to have black people in my car, or I don't want to have Christians in my car or Muslims in my car. It's the same. Under the law, it's the same.
The lawsuit is filed. Since she posted the encounter on social media, other full-figured folks have reached out saying the same thing.
Full-figured. How would you describe her, Stu? And I guarantee you, I know it's not full-figured.
Oh, she's full figured, all right. She trying to figure out what figure she is.
Yes, friggin' slob. That's what figure she is. All right. Next month. This is the funniest list of satire executive orders I've ever seen. 2 minutes, 59 seconds. We don't have time to watch it all, but there's some pretty funny stuff in here.
Okay, sir. This one says, now that the retards are out of the White House, everyone can say retard again with pride.
Why don't we get that down so they can get them going right now?
This one says white people are now allowed to say the N-word once a month just to really get one out of the chamber. And it must be whispered with a black friend nearby.
That's a big one. We're opening up that one.
Men on the dating app, women should have to put their weight. That's for quote unquote equality. She wants to know if he can reach the top of the fridge. He should want to know if she's going to clean out the fridge. It's called the Rosie O'Donnell Fat Pig Act.
That's a big one.
Okay, this one says the LGBTQIA plus 2- umlaut community is now just going to be called the everything but straight people list. It's really just a time saver.
Well, we're going to try and get it done as quickly as possible.
China will now be called China America.
No, if China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China.
When we take over Greenland, it will now be called Red, White, and Blue Land.
Greenland is a wonderful place. We need it for international security.
This one says if you see a man wearing a COVID mask outside, you can have sex with his girlfriend because Lord knows him is not pleasing her any longer.
People have wanted to do this for years.
This says we are bringing back the real gun emoji, getting rid of that weak Democrat woke water pistol bullshit.
We have to do what's right.
Put it on TikTok.
Interesting, sir. It says all the fat, bald feminists with 40 cats who hate men, they will now be put in the front lines during any war. They don't have family or kids, just cats, as I said. So let's put them to work.
And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent to the tariff. And they're tough. They're very tough.
If somebody says you have to respect my pronouns, you are allowed to fart in their mouth, sir.
Stranger things have happened. The wind brings it down a lot.
This one says if a woman divorces you and takes half your stuff, she's required to have sex with you half the time. Fair is fair, sir.
If we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like half? Thank you very much, everybody.
There were more, but that one was good. This next one's pretty funny, though. Setting the trap. Now we just wait. All right. You know it's bad when you got the Indian guy yelling.
Whoever is farting, don't fart, please. Don't mind, please.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
All right. U.S. tanks in Ukraine already destroyed after being easily recognized by their rainbow camouflage. Sad but true. And this guy, charbroiled karma.
Welcome back to Mexico, where we have this amateur arsonist trying to set this place on fire. A couple of slip-a-doodle-doos in the process. Absolutely has no idea what he's doing. He's about to open a portal to hell and get to demon. Stupid idiot could have just stopped him. Oh, he's in a panic because he's a douchebag. Now looking like a hot pocket on the run. Or that he now throw it.
Richard Pryor running through a rock concert.
Sure did. Sure did. All right. When NIG.
Oh, just say it. Just say it.
Meat Serbs. 40 seconds. Hold on a second here. Missed the share on it. Here we go. Oh, for crying out loud. Third time's a charm.
When you knocked on my door and I said, hello, Satan, I believe it is time to go. Me and the devil walking side by side. Me and the devil.
Well, I'm not exactly sure who that guy is, but I've met a handful of Serbians over the years that all served in military roles over there. And they're pretty hardcore, toxic masculinity type guys, our kind of people. All right, here we go. I have no idea what that says in Spanish there, but the caption is, man, VR getting too real these days. 1 minute, 12 seconds.
Oh, damn.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dumbass.
All right. Oh, he did? Crazy guy using it with a drill.
Now look around. I'm not here with you. Hey, come here.
What is wrong with these people?
I suspect at least some of those there was alcohol involved. Now this next one, oh my God, this is funny. This is peak male performance.
How to get any.
Oh my God. All right. The mating ritual of rabbits. This is the silliest goddamn mating ritual I've ever seen.
Okay.
That is too freaking funny. All right. Check this mule out. This is too much.
I think he might have done that before.
It's friggin' impressive, man. Really impressive. All right. I think we finally discovered the cure to the male loneliness epidemic. Receiving a letter of marque to hunt drug cartel kingpins with the boys. Are you familiar with that? This marque thing?
I'm not familiar with the cure to male loneliness. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Right. So this is something I guess hasn't been used in years, but basically it's a letter from the federal government that says you're free to kill whoever we're at war with, to private citizens. Look it up. It's pretty interesting, actually. I'll be surprised if they actually issue any, but it's still interesting.
Well, it'd be about the same equivalent of deputizing citizens.
Yeah. All right. Karen, the local busybody, called the cops on neighborhood kids who were sledding down the street in front of her house. This is how the cops responded.
So the police officer pulls over and says, "What are you doing?" We said, "Sledding." And they said, "Oh yeah, want to race?"
Slide. Oh, for the win!
And you know, Karen's just having a conniption fit over that.
Yep.
All right. This is actually really good. This is what I expect to see when a kid says, "Watch this."
All right, bud. Are you good? Yep. 3, 2, 1, let's do it.
Come on, buddy, you got this. Come on.
Good. Start the pace up. Start building it up. Take your time.
Come on, good.
Good breathing, buddy. Good breathing.
Yes, sir.
Start building, Ethan. Start building.
Come on, buddy. Good job. Breathe.
All right, aggressive breathing. Deep breathing.
The next American ninja.
Make it dismount and breathe.
Breathe.
Breathe. Be assertive, Ethan. Come on.
Good job, huh?
Be aggressive, dude. Let's
There you go.
Yeah.
Like I said, the next American ninja.
That's freaking awesome. All right, next one up. Don't forget to water your bear. Next one up. Very gentle shark. And yes,
There is no damn way.
that was AI generated. Pretty damn spiffy, though. All right, next one up. His side girl caught him out with his wife. Wow.
That seemed like a setup to me.
May very well have been. All right. Joan Rivers' daughter believes that the Obamas killed her mother because she exposed Michelle Obama as a man. What is your opinion on this?
So wrong on so many levels. And it actually strikes fear in me that somehow, someday, somewhere, that will get out.
I went through 5 different security passes, and then a woman at the gate who will not recheck into their records says to me, "You cannot go on." No, she is a moron. Just calm down.
Got it.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender.
In my opinion, it was 100% preventable.
What did this guy know about Obama? Did he know that Michelle Obama was maybe Michael Obama? Did they know that maybe former President-elect Obama was having relations with a man?
Behind the curtains of power and prestige, untold stories often can send shivers down our spines. In a shocking revelation that shakes the very foundations of political intrigue, Joan Rivers' daughter unveils a conspiracy that hints at a chilling possibility.
So pretty interesting that the ghost of Joan Rivers lived on. I just noticed the time as well. I don't know. I got maybe a dozen tabs left to go through, and then like a metric shit ton of memes. I'm going to take the memes and push them into tomorrow night's episode because they're funny. We certainly don't have time to go through them now. But next one up, man picks up an old possum and knows super cool facts about them.
All right, take a look at this here. I was just hiking on the trail and I came across this guy. This is an opossum. I saw him walking on the trail and I walked up to it and it got so scared and fainted and passed out and it played possum. This is an involuntary response by these animals. They don't choose to play possum. They just get so scared that they kind of pass out. He's starting to wake up a little bit. You can see his teeth. They got over 50 teeth. They'll do some damage, but they really won't bite you. I'm not in danger of getting bit, or I'm not really in danger of getting rabies. I know these animals might look dirty or kind of like a rat, but they are actually super clean animals. They groom themselves all day long. They actually eat ticks that go on top of them. So anytime they walk through some brush and they get a tick, they will eat it. They are known to eat up to 5,000 ticks a year, helping prevent Lyme disease. They also almost never have rabies. Could they get rabies? Sure. So could humans. But their body temperature is so low internally, it's tough for the rabies virus to survive. So they do not commonly carry it. Another cool thing about them is on their feet, they have opposable thumbs. They also have this super long tail that they use to hang onto trees and help climb. These guys will pretty much eat anything. They will eat anything from fish, bugs, insects, snakes, vegetables, dog food, cat food you leave outside. You'll see them in your garbage. A lot of times people will think they're a big rat, but they're actually not. They're more closely related to a kangaroo than a rat. They do.
That's pretty
They're
cool.
They're marsupials.
Right. I was just thinking the same thing. All right. ABC pays Trump $15 million to settle George Stephanopoulos defamation suit. CBS in talks to settle lawsuit with Trump for deceptive editing of Kamala's 60 Minutes interview. Jim Acosta is out at CNN. Morning Joe and Mika on their knees at Mar-a-Lago. Steep pay cuts for Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, and Stephanie Ruhle. I love this era. Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
All right. Why is one of your professors threatening to harm lesbians who refuse to sleep with trans women? Lesbians have every right to choose our sexual partners based on what we find attractive, and we will no longer be bullied by men.
If you're cis and you won't date trans folks, you're a transphobe. Now, if that made you mad, maybe it's your prejudices that you need to probe. No matter the reasons you've got, you're reducing us to when we disrobe. And that kind of thinking ain't sophisticated. It's more like microbes. I know you think you've got good reasons, maybe you do. Trauma's real, it's hard to heal. I'd never say that that isn't true. But transphobia is transphobia, and you won't get a pass when we're through. We're human beings, not sex organs, cis lesbians. I'm talking to you.
I don't even know what to say as to.
I have no words except there's a trend going on recently with stupid people singing stupid songs.
Amen to that. All right. Adam Schiff gets qualified for being a massive douche. Somebody give this pum twaddle. Never heard that word before. Liner.
Believed to have essentially lied about whether we had permission to fly into the country in which the rescue operation was going to take place. That had to be delayed while they had to confirm whether, in fact, this was true. If you can't trust someone in these urgent situations, whether it's a hostage rescue or it's a reports of a terrorist act that might be committed, if you can't trust the FBI director in that room, people are going to get hurt.
That guy's just, he should not be in Congress, put it that way. Next one up, dogs live on TV, 1 minute, 2 seconds.
Department received nearly $4,000 in protection equipment to ensure officer don't... До 8 плюс 9 градусов. Стоять! Иди сюда! Эй, стой!
So how are you coping with all the fame?
It's gonna stay dry through the weekend. What in the world is that?
Friday 14 does start to warm up nicely, though, as we get into the weekend.
For Leonardwood coming in at 0-1. That was what it feels like in Springfield.
Okay. Hey, stop.
How are you? Woo! Live TV. How are you, buddy? It's not your turn yet.
Good dog, hey? Yeah, you've done some emotional support. We.
Oh.
Her tummy and waist were as soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat.
Oh my god. You gotta love dogs. Here's another dog one. Would you stop to pet Tubbs?
The only time I feel safe, you show the lights that stop me, turn to stone. You show, then I know, so I tell
Speaking of dogs, I have two of them here beside me now. I told my Mexican friend that he was being deported. You should have seen his panic. Oh my God. Karen steals chair from student claiming equal rights. Student's dad gives her equal lefts.
Een beetje jouw en Kijk, kijk dan.
Fuck around, find out.
Indeed, indeed. All right, this is like, I don't know how to describe this. What am I looking at?
Did you know that DEI bans would extend to medical schools as well? Hi, my name's Delia. I am a transgender and intersex medical student, activist, and educator. Quite literally, the entire reason I went to medical school was to make sure that transgender, intersex, and non-binary patients are cared for and have what they need in order to access healthcare. And now they're trying to take that away. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's kind of terrifying. DEI in medical education is not just about ensuring that we have physicians from diverse backgrounds. It's also about ensuring that we're learning about diverse populations and making sure that we are prepared to care for patients from the populations around us. And that includes the LGBTQ+ community. If DEI is banned in medical schools, that means there will be millions of patients across the United States that physicians are not adequately prepared to treat. And this is really dangerous. We know that people from marginalized communities have higher rates of adverse health outcomes than people from non-marginalized communities. If you like
suicide
or in medical education, we have to be doing the work to ensure that our education is protected, because that will protect our patients.
You know how all these lefties are saying that they're fatigued and tired of Donald Trump already? I am fatigued and tired of all this alphabet crap. Just
well, they have the access to the healthcare they need. It's called a psychiatrist.
There you go. Exactly. Slow learners. They always have to walk away with their tail between their legs. It's entertaining as hell with Charlie Kirk.
If the only way to ban abortion forever would be to bring back slavery, would you do it?
No.
No?
No. I wouldn't bring back slavery to try to limit murder. No.
Okay.
But what kind of outrageous question is that, by the way?
I'm just curious. Just
No,
yes
but
or no?
If the only way to limit human suffering is to ban abortion, would you ban abortion?
Say that again. Ask that again.
If the only way to limit human suffering is to ban abortion, would you ban abortion?
No.
It was an honest answer.
Okay.
It was an honest answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I could tell you've thought deeply about this topic.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Great.
Painful to watch. Painful.
Charlie Kirk was ripping them up left and right at these college campuses.
Absolutely. This is funny from this is this spoof Chinese account. I also most disgust much faggot in America. You be man, act man. You be woman, act woman. Stop, try be woman if you man. No faggot. You faggot, no good. Oh, I'm telling you, this spoof account is freaking hilarious. All right, next one up. And all of the men in the audience, I'm sure, can relate to this. Grab me a cold one.
Good use of an old refrigerator.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a terrible use at all. All right. Threw bro's head in the gutter. 39 seconds.
It's already done. It's already done.
All right, bro, you got it.
Hey, get this shit on camera. You gonna respect me, little
Caleb,
man.
don't let him bitch you like that.
Hey,
You gonna- Caleb, don't let him bitch you like that.
What I said about this shit?
Get up. Caleb, get up. Caleb, get up. Caleb, get up. Caleb, get up.
What the hell do you all think you're doing? I told you this ain't gonna be no fight. What do you mean ain't no fight? Shut up.
All right.
What you don't know about that kid is that kid studies MMA. That
could-
was an old video.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that as well.
No, they did a big piece on him talking about how he was studying MMA. He was all over the news.
Yeah, no, I remember I saw it. Bro thought he was getting arrested straight out of prison.
Yes, my guy.
Hello.
Hello. Oh. Yes.
Caught a case, bro.
Yeah. All right. Child predator got knocked out with a huge hit to the head.
Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
Stay away from little girls.
Yeah, he got off easy. All right, next one up.
This is not going to end well.
Oh!
We gotta watch it.
Oh, check that kid's head. She probably cracked his skull.
Yeah, it's not good, that's for sure. All right, next one up. Kaboom. 30 seconds.
3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
Wow.
I think she's going to do all right.
Yep.
All right, see if I can get the volume up loud enough on this. I'm crying. 45 seconds.
Well, this is an officer with ICE doing a routine check.
Well, I'm an American citizen.
Well, we have questions that'll determine that answer.
Okay.
How many points are scored in a football game?
6.
We want to make America
Great again.
Who's the best female artist?
Taylor Swift.
All right, last question. Can you say Walmart? Sir, can you say
Yes, I know. Walmart. No.
Oh my God. All right. We're not sure what's being fed to Baron Trump.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who didn't have a car.
And
It's those Serbian genes.
this Baron Trump stuff is getting out of hand here. All right. And the last one for tonight. This is still my favorite 2024 election prediction video. 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Can't play it all, but this guy is a total beta. I'll let you interpret the rest.
Kamala Harris is spanking Donald Trump's ass right now, and we are going to know that she has won the presidency before the night is over on November 5th. Save this, come back to it. I don't care. You want some facts over feelings? Look at the percent of women that are voting compared to men in the blue wall states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. It's double digits. Look at the exit polls in those states. They are overwhelmingly 20+% saying they voted for Kamala Harris. Look at Georgia and the record turnout. You're seeing people in North Carolina marching to the polls with marching bands. What the hell? Like, that is an insane amount of energy when people are literally leading parades to the polls. You are seeing North Carolina Mark Robinson trailing his opponent by like 18%. You don't think those people are going to come out and vote for Kamala Harris as well? You're seeing states like Florida and Arizona that have abortion on the ballot, and these people are coming out in droves to protect their fundamental rights and bodily autonomy. Look at states like Nebraska, where Donald Trump is only a +5 in Nebraska. Look at Iowa and the bombshell of report from Ann Seltzer coming out that Kamala Harris is leading Iowa by 3 points.
I mean, it was such bullshit. I mean, I'm not telling you.
And Trump took every state that he just mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. Just it is funny to go back and watch that. That's for sure. All right.
Love to be the fly on the wall with his reaction when they announced Trump won.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just pull something up here quickly. As to I got something just before we went online. Show this one first. So there we go. All right. So this is what the daily situation report looks like. And I started using an Apple Note a while ago because it's easy to share with John. And I flip it to a PDF and send it out to everybody. But if you look at it, it looks just like an early Drudge report, for lack of a better term. And our senior editor, Grace, I asked her a while ago if she could do me a favor and come up with a template that's cloud-based that everybody in the team can contribute towards. And she just sent this to me just before we went on air. I just want to give all y'all a quick glimpse at it, those people who hung with us this late. But this is essentially a template that has all the blanks where we can fill them in and give insider members access to this. It's a pretty slick one. Really appreciate all the work that Grace put into it, but expect to start seeing the sit rep look like this over the next few days.
Interesting.
Stepping it up another notch. My feeling as to just so our audience is clear is that the daily sit rep is a highly curated newspaper, for lack of a better term. And we read through literally millions of words per day amongst the entire Survival Dispatch news team. So it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, right? All this news is coming at us a million miles an hour. And we read everything from MSNBC to Alex Jones, everything in between. So what we put into that daily situation report is pretty balanced and truthful information. So my feeling is, S2, is that there aren't a lot of people who can hang with us for 2 hours and 22 minutes on an episode every night. I said 2 hours, 22 minutes because that's how long we've been live. And that's also why our normal format, which will resume tomorrow, there's that 10, 15-minute opener, give people the headline story. But if they don't have time to spend after that, they can take the sit rep and, go through the articles and the videos that are in there at their own leisure. And other people who can't even afford the time, or maybe the time that we broadcast that's not convenient for them, they can just go grab the sit rep and they don't have to sift through millions of words. And if they digest the entire sit rep, we'll put a smile on their face by the end of it.
And if you're like me, I collect the sit reps and the briefs, and it'll be keepsakes that I can keep and show to people later on down the road to say, look how you almost fucked everything up.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. So I want to play just a 7-second video from our friends at Flex Industries. And for those of you still hanging with us, we haven't managed to get a lot of conversions for Flex Industries. And we need sponsors like Flex Industries so that when we work 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 hours a day, some days are pretty extreme. We can afford to cover all the overhead that goes with survival dispatch and put food on the table like everybody else. So if anybody is looking for a high performance trigger, they've got triggers for Glocks that are legal. So the performance is amazing and it's not illegal like a Glock switch. They just brought out the AK trigger week before last, which is bad to the bone. It's like a forced reset trigger for ARs. And they've got a AR trigger that's not patent infringing on the forced reset trigger stuff. That's what I'm going to play. 7 seconds. Our good friend Tactical Carl. But if you go to their website, link below, or flexindustries.com, use a discount code S as in Sam, D as in David 17 to get 17% off. When you support our sponsors like that, that's how we can continue on the path that we're on and bringing you all kinds of curated news and hopefully putting a smile on your face at the same time. So 7 seconds. So again, that's the 3MR trigger for the ARs. If you're an AK guy, they've got a kick-ass AK trigger as well. And we really appreciate you supporting those companies that support us. And you can also go to patreon.com/survival dispatch. You can get a free account, get 50% of our sit reps, or you can have a paid account, $9.99 a month. You get that daily curated newspaper, all of them. And you also get an invite to our private Signal chat, which just is an incredible volume of information, intel sharing, a lot of camaraderie. We didn't anticipate it was going to go that way, but it's been just an amazing evolution for that chat. There's a bunch of other extra value adds, but those are the two big ones: the daily sit rep, all of them, and the Signal chat, which again, just an incredible amount of information being shared there. So I'm done on my part, S2. If you want to hit us with the grok question of the night, we'll do that.
We actually have that.
Yep.
I got to go all the way down 145 pages for that.
Yeah, or I can send it to you. I can send it to you in the chat.
Wait a minute. I'm almost there. Almost
Okay.
there.
It's in the private chat as well. So for those of you who are wondering what the grok question is, there's this game called Conflict of the Game where they've got, I don't know, I want to say 14 decks out there now that have all these questions based on being in some sort of SHTF situation. So for example, here's one of the decks right here. Out of the 14 decks, we have gone through almost every question. So in order to keep the streak alive, keep things going, because it's good for the discussion, we now go to grok and say, hey, give us a question to ask preppers that you haven't given to us already. And that's it, S2.
Okay, here we go. How do you manage communication and information during a disaster when conventional means might be unavailable?
Man, that's a great question indeed. And I would say that, and this is probably your field much more than mine, but nonetheless, I would say at the very least, go to Temu and get you some Baofeng UV5R radios. I think I saw like a 2-pack over there for $28 or something like that. It's a ham radio. It does GMRS as well. and spend a little bit of time figuring out how it works. Don't believe the BS on anybody's labels to say, oh, this radio is good for 35 miles. In the salt flats, you might get that with no obstructions in between. You're not going to get that in town. You might get a mile in town, to be quite frank, unless you have access to repeaters on higher towers that can relay your information elsewhere. California actually has the largest network of repeaters. It's all community built, like individual built, and you can use those repeaters to kind of go around or over some of the mountains and get some pretty spectacular coverage out of them. The wattage matters, but the antenna matters even more. You could have a ton of horsepower of wattage and a bad antenna or a short antenna or a small antenna, and you're not going to get very far with it. The power just won't overcome it. So at the end of the day, at the very least, get some cheap Baofeng radios. If you have more money to spend, buy something more expensive. Buy twowayradios.com, our preferred partner, bar none. I don't have any discount codes. We don't get any affiliate money from them. We're just super impressed with their quality of products and quality of service over the years. They're really, really good guys. S2, now I'll turn it over to you to give a better technical explanation than me.
So yeah, this is in my my wheelhouse. For me, I have several different ways of managing communication and information. I have one 100-watt ham radio with very large 40 and 80 meter antennas that I can throw up anywhere I want to. I also have a portable man pack. Well, it's not a man pack. I have it stuffed in a way in a waterproof case with the Faraday bag around each radio. And the antenna I have is a 30-foot telescopic ground centered antenna. That's one way. For managing communications directly between my neighbors, I have many Baofangs that I've bought over the years that I can just go ahead and program those and hand them out to my neighbors. For other things, such as just doing broadcast information, I actually have an FM transmitter that I can send out short range broadcasts in my neighborhood of things that might be going on, things that I'm hearing. The other thing that I can do is I also have the ability to get hooked up to JS8 call. So for anybody that doesn't know, S2 Underground runs something called GhostNet, where they exchange information from different parts of the country. And sometimes if the conditions are right, you can even get things from other parts of the world, but they use JS8 call to receive those on a specific frequency. So I have many different ways. And another thing that I've just developed here recently has been a Meshtastic network where I can distribute these nodes around my area here, and I can get up to 6 kilometers with one unit alone by itself and being able to transmit. It does require a cell phone, but it doesn't require cell phone service. It runs on what's called the LoRa protocol. But if I'm in a problem where I don't have line of sight, I can take one of these Meshtastic nodes, hook it up to one of my drones, and pop it up in the air as a repeater. So that gives me even more distance. So once again, I have many different ways at my disposal to do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I knew you'd have a great answer as to. So other than that, just a quick mention while we're talking vendors, at the end of each situation report, there's a list of companies and products that we recommend with discount links and discount codes. It's about 24 in there. We have 300 different, affiliate relationships, but those 24 are the cream of the crop, the ones that we're willing to put our name behind. There's also a restricted section at the end of the sit rep, so stuff that we can't put on the censored platforms like YouTube and Meta. Don't believe Zuckerberg. He has not opened up Instagram or Facebook on those fronts. By the way, we were with our friend Keith Graves at SHOT Show last week, and he gave all of us River City Police patches. And we were in a private presentation in a room, and Keith got shocked by the gloves. And when the guys, there were a bunch of law enforcement people in the room, when they found out that he was chief sheriff from River City Police, inside joke amongst law enforcement, everybody in the country pays attention to this. Oh, they thought that was just friggin' hilarious that Keith was the man. All right, so we've got a short video, like we always have at the end of each episode. It's 2 minutes, 31 seconds long, and it's got some profanity in it. It's the Donald J. Trump FU video from Dilly Meme Team, if you have not seen it. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow night at the usual time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. God bless America.
You'll never see the light of day. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I run shit here. You just live here. I see dead people.
Forgiveness is between them and God. My job to arrange the meeting.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this to me? I'ma burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
What a moving evening this is. I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him. And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Don't tell anybody I told you this. Trump, I use his name. Trump is goading us to impeach him. We can't impeach him for political reasons, and we can't not impeach him for political reasons.
That's all right. That's all right. Shit, I don't fuck. I'm winning anyway. I'm winning. I'm winning any motherfucking way. I can't lose. Shit, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me.